At the drama's beginning, we see a boy who has moved to a new place today, but he has come to live alone. His name is Ji-hoon. Then we see his 3 friends helping him carry his belongings. All of them are currently in high school. Then Kyung-woo, one of them, throws some of Ji-hoon's belongings, causing them to fall. Ji-hoon starts picking them up. Then Ji-hoon finds a girl's drawing that she made, but he doesn't remember when he made it. Ji-hoon is looking at the drawing when a girl stands before him. Ji-hoon keeps staring at her because she is very beautiful. Here, Ji-hoon falls in love at first sight. Then Ji-hoon sees that she is standing in the middle of the road, so he moves aside and the girl leaves. Next, we see Ji-hoon sleeping late. He quickly gets up to catch the school bus, but when he gets to the bus stop, he remembers that he forgot his wallet. So he tells the bus driver, "Please drop me off at school for free today. I will pay you tomorrow." But the driver says, "Forget it and get off because someone has been waiting for you for a long time. Get out of here." When Ji-hoon looks back, it's the same girl he met near his house. The girl's name is Ja-rim, and she pays for Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon says, "Thank you." When the bus starts, Ji-hoon is pushed, and his hand lands directly on the boy's face, causing Ji-hoon to feel very embarrassed. Kyung-woo is sitting there and laughing at this. Then, at school, we learn that Ji-hoon and Kim-hoon are in the same class, while Kyung-woo is in a different class. When the period ends, Kim-hoon and Ji-hoon go to his class to meet him. Another friend of theirs, An-min, is also in that class. He says, "You both have your own class. What are you doing in our class?" While the 4 are talking, Ji-hoon notices that Ja-rim is also in that class. Seeing Ja-rim makes him feel very embarrassed, so he runs away. Ja-rim is sitting with her 2 friends, Ah-ram and Yang-min. When Ji-hoon's friends find out what he did on the bus, they all make fun of him. Then Ji-hoon says, "Why didn't you tell me she studies in your class? Don't you think my meeting that girl is destiny? Because we have been bumping into each other for 2 days." Ji-hoon's friends start making fun of him, so Ji-hoon says, "Listen to me first. A romance between a boy and a girl starts because of an accident. And you said her name is Ja-rim, which means princess, and my name is Ji-hoon, which means prince." Ji-hoon is getting happier, and Kyung-woo says, "Stop talking nonsense." Next, we see Ji-hoon and Kyung-woo talking as they walk. Then he sees the girl and finds out which building she lives in, which is very close to his. Ji-hoon says, "Our houses are nearby. Don't you still think our meeting is destiny?" Kyung says, "What nonsense logic. If you're saying that, then my meeting with that girl is also destiny because she's also in my class, and my building is right in front of her house." Then Ji-hoon says, "Okay, if I see her at the bus stop tomorrow morning at 8:30, then it will definitely be destiny. You have to admit that." The next day, when Ja-rim arrives at the bus stop, Kyung-woo and Ji-hoon are there. Ji-hoon says, "See, our meeting is destiny." Kyung-woo says, "What nonsense? Come on, we're getting late for school." Then Ji-hoon says, "Okay, if we buy the same drink at school, then it will definitely be destiny." Then we see Ji-hoon at school, sitting with a drink he bought. When Ja-rim buys a drink, she chooses a different one, causing Kyung-woo to laugh. Then Kim-hoon arrives and has bought the same drink as Ji-hoon. Seeing this, Kyung-woo laughs a lot and says, "You should date Kim-hoon instead of Ja-rim because that's your destiny." Next, we see Ji-hoon getting ready for school and waiting for Ja-rim on the way so he can talk to her. He tries to talk to her but can't. The next day, he follows Ja-rim, but he doesn't have the courage to talk to her. Ja-rim realizes that someone is following her, but when she looks back, no one is there because Ji-hoon has hidden. Then we see a school scene where Kyung-woo asks Ja-rim, "Can I set you up with a boy?" But Ja-rim refuses. Then Ja-rim says, "A boy has been following me for a few days." Kyung-woo asks, "Did you see his face?" Ja-rim says, "No, I couldn't see him properly, but today he was wearing a red tracksuit." Hearing this, Kyung-woo understands and goes to Ji-hoon and says, "Ja-rim just said someone is following her, and she also saw what you're wearing today." Then a boy who looks exactly like Ji-hoon arrives, so Ji-hoon gives him his tracksuit so Ja-rim won't recognize him. Yang-min sees Ji-hoon giving away the tracksuit and says, "So you're the one who's been following Ja-rim." But Ji-hoon says, "You're misunderstanding. She paid for my bus fare, so I wanted to give it back, but I couldn't talk to her." Yang-min says, "You're lying. You like her, right? But it's no use because you won't be able to impress her. So give up." Ji-hoon angrily asks, "Why?" Yang-min says, "Because she hates boys like you." The next day, when Ja-rim is going somewhere, Ji-hoon is following her again. Ja-rim realizes this, catches him, and says, "Why were you following me?" Ji-hoon says, "You paid for my bus fare, so I wanted to return it." Ja-rim says, "Oh, it's okay. It was a small amount." But Ji-hoon says, "I want to return it," and he gives Ja-rim the money. Here, Ji-hoon tells Ja-rim his name, asks for hers, and asks, "Can we be friends?" Ja-rim says, okay, making Ji-hoon very happy. Then we are shown a scene from 5 days earlier. In the money Ji-hoon gave Ja-rim, he wrote all his feelings that he likes her. Then, in the present, when Ja-rim is boarding the bus, she gives the money Ji-hoon gave her to the bus conductor. Seeing this, Ji-hoon becomes very upset. The next day, Ja-rim wakes up, and we learn that she lives with her younger sister. Next, we see Ji-hoon, Ja-rim, and Kyung-woo going to school together, and Ji-hoon and Kyung-woo keep changing their sides. Then Ji-hoon says to Ja-rim, "Can you give me your number?" Ja-rim says, "Okay." When Ja-rim goes to get Ji-hoon's phone, Ji-hoon deliberately drops his phone. When Ja-rim goes to pick it up, many lollipops are scattered on the ground, and Ji-hoon wishes her a white day because it is white day. Ji-hoon has placed many lollipops in Ja-rim's bag. He did all this while Ji-hoon and Kyung-woo kept changing their sides on the way. Ja-rim is not happy with Ji-hoon's actions. She returns the phone to him and boards the bus. Then Kyung-woo says, "I told you this plan wouldn't work. See, now she hasn't given you her number." Later at school, Ja-rim tells her friends what Ji-hoon did. Young-min says, "I knew something like this would happen." Poor Ji-hoon doesn't even know that Ja-rim doesn't like sweets at all. Then Young-min comes to Ji-hoon and says, "Ja-rim is very angry because of you." Ji-hoon says, "Don't worry, I will confess my feelings very soon." Next, we see Ji-hoon waiting for Ja-rim, and when she arrives at school, Ji-hoon says, "I was waiting for you for a long time." But Ja-rim says, "Don't talk to me." Ji-hoon gestures, "I like you." Ja-rim gestures back, "I will beat you up." Then Ji-hoon asks for her number, but she refuses and tells Kyung-woo, "Give him my number," and leaves. We see Ji-hoon sitting in class. Kyung-woo arrives and says, "It's raining heavily, and Ja-rim forgot her umbrella, so you can take her home under your umbrella." Meanwhile, we see Ja-rim saying to Young-min, "How will I go home?" Young-min says, "It's okay, come with me." But when Young-min looks for her umbrella, it's not there, and Ah-ram's umbrella is also missing. The three stand outside when Ji-hoon arrives with his umbrella and asks Ja-rim, "Will you share my umbrella?" Before he finishes, Ja-rim starts to walk away in the rain, so Ji-hoon follows her. Meanwhile, we learn that Kyung-woo and his friends stole Ah-ram and Young-min's umbrellas, and when they put the umbrellas back, Ah-ram and Young-min see them and get treats from them. On the other hand, Ji-hoon says to Ja-rim, "Here's my umbrella, otherwise you'll catch a cold." But Ja-rim doesn't say anything and starts to leave, making Ji-hoon angry. He throws the umbrella down and says, "I understand. Here, take my umbrella. From today, I will never talk to you again. I won't bother you." Then Ja-rim says, "I don't want your umbrella," and leaves. Ji-hoon doesn't pick up the umbrella. He leaves it there and, getting wet, follows Ja-rim to her building. But Ja-rim's room key is with her sister, who hasn't arrived yet, and Ja-rim is standing outside. Ji-hoon sees that Ja-rim is very cold and says, "Come to my house, otherwise you'll catch a bad cold." Ja-rim says, "Why should I go to your house? Let me catch a cold." Ji-hoon says, "Okay, stay here. I'm going." Then, going home, Ji-hoon brings a jacket and towel for Ja-rim and comes to her saying, "Here, wear this, otherwise you'll catch a cold." Ja-rim says, "Aren't you cold? Go home, I'll return your jacket later." Then we see Ja-rim asleep. She wakes up thirsty and goes to get water, but she sees Ji-hoon in the refrigerator, which scares her. Then she watches TV, but she sees Ji-hoon on TV, so she turns it off and goes to sleep. But even in her dreams, she sees Ji-hoon, making Ja-rim very upset. Next, we see Ja-rim talking to her friend at night. Her friend asks, "What will you wear to the retreat?" Ja-rim says, "I haven't decided yet." Ja-rim goes to check her clothes and sees Ji-hoon's jacket that he gave her in the rain. Ja-rim is about to go and return the jacket, but she thinks, "What if I go to return the jacket to Ji-hoon? What if he misunderstands that I have feelings for him and proposes to me right there?" Thinking this, she doesn't go and tells her sister Ji-hoon's address, saying, "Go and return the jacket." The next day, all the school students are leaving for the retreat. When they arrive at the retreat location, Ja-rim tells her friends, "I forgot to bring my face wash." Ji-hoon overhears this. When everyone is in their rooms, the students are told, "We are going to count the students again because one student is missing." Then we see the guards taking a boy, Ji-hoon, who went outside without permission. He gets scolded by the teacher and receives punishment. A little later, when Ja-rim comes to her roommate gives her face wash and says, "A boy asked me to give this to you." Then we see Ji-hoon, whose legs hurt from doing squats. Ja-rim comes to him and says, "You went outside without permission just to buy this face wash for me. Don't ever do this again because I will never be happy if you do." Then Ja-rim gives Ji-hoon a drink and says, "You haven't eaten, right? You must be hungry." Ji-hoon says, "I'm very hungry." But Ji-hoon is lying because he has rice on his face and he has eaten. Ja-rim realizes he's lying, so she comes to him, removes the rice from his face, and leaves. Ji-hoon is very happy that Ja-rim did this. Next we see Ji-hoon bringing the face wash he bought for Ja-rim, which makes her very happy. Meanwhile, Ji-hoon has rice on his face again. Kim-hoon removes the rice from his face, making Ji-hoon very angry. He grabs Kim-hoon's collar. Kyung-woo says, "Are you crazy? What are you doing?" Ji-hoon says nothing and goes to Ja-rim, saying, "I have rice on my face. Remove it." Ja-rim holds Ji-hoon's face from behind, and Ah-ram kicks his face hard, removing the rice. Next, the boys perform a dance, and when the performance ends, Ji-hoon sings a song where he confesses his feelings. After Ji-hoon sings, the announcer says, "I know you sang this song for a girl sitting here." He says, "Whoever that girl is, please come on stage." Ja-rim doesn't want to go, but Ah-ram forcefully takes her to the stage. The announcer holds Ja-rim's and Ji-hoon's hands and tells everyone, "Hug each other." Ja-rim refuses, so Ji-hoon hugs her without touching her. Everyone laughs. Ja-rim feels very embarrassed and angrily leaves, making Ji-hoon very sad. The retreat ends, and everyone goes home. We see Ji-hoon telling his friends, "Ja-rim hasn't spoken to me since the retreat." Then, we see Ja-rim's friends saying to her, "You hurt Ji-hoon's feelings. What do you want to do now?" Ja-rim says nothing and leaves. Next, we see Ji-hoon sitting sadly in his class. A girl named Lee Se comes to him and says, "You're Ji-hoon, right? I saw you on YouTube. You sing very well." Lee Se asks for Ji-hoon's phone, saying, "I lost my phone," and makes a call on his phone. But her phone wasn't lost. She just wanted Ji-hoon's number. She saves her number in Ji-hoon's phone, returns it, and says, "Answer when I call." She leaves. Next, we see Ji-hoon practicing with Kim-hoon and saying, "How will I propose to Ja-rim?" Seeing this, Kyung-woo says, "You idiot, what are you doing? If Ja-rim really likes you, you don't need to do all this, and I don't think she likes you." Ji-hoon says, "No, that's not true. She may seem tough on the outside, but she's very soft-hearted inside." While Ji-hoon is talking to his friends, Lee-se arrives and says, "Why didn't you answer my call?" She takes Ji-hoon away. Seeing Ji-hoon with that girl, all the boys are shocked and think, "Who is this girl and when did Ji-hoon meet her?" When Ji-hoon and Lee-se are walking together, Ja-rim sees them and feels very jealous, but doesn't let anyone know. Seeing Ja-rim, Ji-hoon runs to her and starts talking, but Ja-rim's face shows that she is very jealous. Next, we see Ah-ram and Yang-min asking Kyung-woo, "Who was that girl with Ji-hoon? I don't believe he likes Ja-rim. Why is he hanging out with another girl?" Kyung-woo says, "He doesn't like that girl. She came to Ji-hoon herself. Why are you asking all this? Who cares who he's with?" Yang-min says, "I don't, but Ja-rim does." Kyung-woo asks Ja-rim, "Does it matter to you?" Ja-rim says, "It doesn't matter to me." Kyung-woo says, "Did you hear that? Don't bother me again." Anyway, Lee-se likes Ji-hoon very much, and if a girl likes a boy, why would he reject her? Let them be together. Then we see that when Ji-hoon is in class, Lee-se keeps messaging him, making Ji-hoon very annoyed, so he switches off his phone. Then Ji-hoon goes to Ja-rim and says, "Are you free on Saturday? We can go out." Ja-rim says, "No, I'm not free." Then Lee-se arrives and says, "I'm free. Let's go out on Saturday." Ji-hoon says, No, I'm not free." Ja-rim starts to go to her class, and Ji-hoon follows her. Lee-se doesn't like this. Ji-hoon asks Ja-rim, "Are you really busy on Saturday?" Ja-rim says, "No, I'm free that day, but it seems you're busy with that girl." Ji-hoon says, "Oh, you're misunderstanding. I don't like that girl." Ja-rim says, "That girl likes you, so you should date her." Ji-hoon says, "Well, I like you too, so you should date me." Ja-rim says, "Don't talk nonsense. It's time for the teacher to arrive, so you should go to your class." Next, after class, Ja-rim is going home with her friends. Lee-se meets her and says, "Can we talk?" They both sit in a cafe and start talking. Lee-se says directly, "You're not going to date Ji-hoon, so tell him clearly that you're rejecting him." Ja-rim then messages Ji-hoon, "I don't like you, so I'm rejecting you," and shows the message to Lee-se saying, "Are you happy now?" But then Ji-hoon replies, "I reject your rejection. I like you and will continue to like you." Lee-se gets very angry seeing this message. Ja-rim leaves. Next, we see Ja-rim drinking coffee with her friends. She receives a message from Ji-hoon with her photo. "My building is on fire." This worries Ja-rim and she rushes there, but she sees no fire. Then she sees Ji-hoon standing there with flowers, confessing his feelings with cheesy lines. All the friends are very surprised at what Ji-hoon is doing, but Ja-rim comes to Ji-hoon and says, "Let's date." Ji-hoon says, "Really? Ja-rim says, "No, I'm just kidding, like you lied about the building fire." Ji-hoon says, "Tell me, can we date? Because I like you very much." Ja-rim says, "I'll give you the answer tonight." At night, Ji-hoon waits with his friends for Ja-rim's message. He receives the message, "Let's date." Ji-hoon is very happy and so excited to meet Ja-rim tomorrow that he can't sleep. The next day, Ji-hoon is going to school with Ja-rim and sits next to her on the bus. He calls her honey. Ja-rim says, "Don't call me that." Ji-hoon asks, "Can I hold your hand?" Ja-rim refuses. Ji-hoon puts his arm around Ja-rim's shoulders. Kyung-woo is sitting across from them and says, "I can't watch your antics every day, so I'll go to school alone from tomorrow." In class, Ji-hoon sits in front of Ja-rim and keeps staring at her. Ja-rim says, "Stop staring at me like that." Ji-hoon says, "What can I do? No matter how much I look at you, I'm not satisfied." Ji-hoon asks again, "Can I hold your hand?" Ja-rim refuses again. Ji-hoon says, "We're dating, so why can't we hold hands?" Ja-rim says, "We're dating, but is holding hands necessary?" Ji-hoon says, "Your point is well taken, but we can go on dates." Ji-hoon starts showing Ja-rim when they can go on dates. Ja-rim tears up the paper and says, "Are you crazy? Who goes on dates every day? Don't you know we have exams next week?" Ja-rim's friends feel very sorry for Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon says, "We'll go on dates after the exams." Ja-rim says, "We'll see then." Ji-hoon is upset. After class, Ji-hoon is going home with his friends and sees Ja-rim also heading home. Ji-hoon goes to Ja-rim and says, "Exams are coming, right? Let's go to the library because I'm very weak in studies. Let's study together." They all go to the library and Ja-rim and Ji-hoon are studying. But Ji-hoon pays less attention to his studies and more to Ja-rim. He pretends to be sleepy while studying and tries to rest his head on Ja-rim's shoulder, but she moves his head. Ja-rim sees Ji-hoon staring at her and says, "Stop looking at me and study." Ji-hoon says, "I'm studying. I'm actually studying you." Ja-rim says, "Stop talking nonsense." Ja-rim notices that her friends aren't in the library because they left so Ji-hoon and Ja-rim could spend time alone. Ji-hoon says, "You've been treating me very badly since we started dating." Ja-rim says, "That's just how I am." "Why? Don't you like me?" Ji-hoon says, "That's not true, but will you stay with me? Watch, I'll make you a very cute girl and melt your heart." Ja-rim says, "Do you like me that much?" Ji-hoon says, "Yes, I like you very much." Ja-rim asks, "Tell me, how long will you like me?" Ji-hoon says, "I will like you for the rest of my life." Ja-rim says, "Don't answer so quickly because people often change." Ji-hoon says, "But I won't change. My feelings will always be the same." Ja-rim laughs. A week passes and the school exams arrive. After the exams, Ji-hoon comes to Ja-rim and says, "Ja-rim, our exams are over. Let's go on a date." Ja-rim refuses, saying, "I'm going out with my friends." Ji-hoon says, "It's okay. I'll come with you guys." Ja-rim refuses, but her friends persuade her. We see them all having fun, singing songs and dancing. We see Kyung-woo always covering one eye. Young-min thinks, "Why does he do that?" and decides to find out the truth. Young-min sits next to Kyung-woo and does many silly things to move his hair, making Kyung-woo understand what she wants. When Kyung-woo goes outside, Young-min follows him. Kyung-woo gets angry and says, "You want to know the truth?" He removes his hair, showing Young-min his face, shocking her. Young-min feels regret and says, "I shouldn't have done that. Forgive me." Meanwhile, Ji-hoon is sitting next to Ja-rim, but she's busy with her phone, making Ji-hoon unhappy. Kyung-woo is watching all this. Then we see Ji-hoon in class, watching two couples who have each other's photos as their phone wallpapers. Ji-hoon goes to Ja-rim and asks Young-min, "Where's Ja-rim?" Young-min says, "She went to the restaurant." Ji-hoon takes Ja-rim's phone and tries to unlock it, but he can't. Young-min stops him, but Ji-hoon says, "I just want to change her wallpaper." But then Ja-rim arrives and takes her phone from Ji-hoon. She gets very angry and says, "What are you doing? Why are you touching my phone without permission?" Ji-hoon says, "I just wanted to change the wallpaper." Ja-rim says, "Who are you to do anything on my phone?" Ji-hoon feels very bad and says, "What do you mean? Who am I? I'm your boyfriend." Ja-rim says, "So what if you're my boyfriend? Don't I have any privacy?" Ji-hoon says, "We're dating." Ja-rim says, "So what if we're dating? Let's break up." Ji-hoon is very sad and leaves. Kyung-woo overhears this. In his class, Ji-hoon is very sad and doesn't know what to do. He messages Ja-rim, "Are you serious? You said that in anger, right? We're not breaking up, are we?" Ja-rim isn't reading Ji-hoon's message, making him very upset. School is dismissed. Everyone leaves class, but Ji-hoon sits alone waiting for Ja-rim's message. Kyung-woo arrives and forces Ji-hoon to go home. The next day, Kyung-woo goes to Ja-rim and says, "I don't think Ji-hoon made a big mistake." Ji-hoon arrives and says, "You stole my heart without permission too, right?" Ja-rim says, "Stop the nonsense." As she leaves, Ji-hoon grabs her hand to stop her. Ja-rim looks at him with wide eyes, causing Ji-hoon to let go of her hand in fear. Ja-rim goes to her class. All day, Ji-hoon follows Ja-rim. He's apologizing, but Ja-rim ignores him. Ji-hoon brings Ja-rim a drink and says, "Please forgive me. What I said yesterday was just in anger." Suddenly, Ja-rim says, "I'm sorry." Ji-hoon looks at Ja-rim, and she says, "Look down." Ji-hoon says, "You're not angry with me." Ja-rim says, "No, and don't think anything strange." As she leaves, Ji-hoon grabs her hand and says, "Does this mean we're dating again?" Ja-rim says, "Yes, think of it that way." Ji-hoon is very happy. Everything is fine between them, and their friends see them together. Next, in class, Ji-hoon sits in front of Ja-rim and just talks. Ja-rim says, "Will you stop talking nonsense?" Ji-hoon says, "What can I do? I like talking about you. By the way, when do you think about me?" Ja-rim says, "When you message me." Ji-hoon says, "Now I'll message you all the time. Are you free tomorrow?" Ja-rim says, "No, I'm going shopping for clothes." Poor Ji-hoon comes out sadly. Yang-min asks him, "Haven't you gone on a date with Ja-rim yet?" Ji-hoon says, "I don't think she'll ever go on a date with me." Yang-min feels very bad hearing this. A friend arrives and shows them a post. Kyung-woo has a part-time job. Everyone is surprised. They decide to go to the restaurant where Kyung-woo works this weekend. Kyung-woo arrives and asks, "What are you talking about?" Everyone falls silent when Kyung arrives. No one says anything and leaves. Kyung wonders what happened to them. The next day, Sunday, we see Kim-hoon receiving a call from Yang-min. She tells him, "Come to where Kyung-woo works. Today is also Kim-hoon's birthday." He thinks, "They're going to surprise me." We see Kyung-woo coming to work at the restaurant and changing his clothes because he works there as a waiter. The customers in room number 2 ring the bell to call the waiter. Kyung-woo goes to take the order and, seeing his friends in the room, says, "What are you doing here? How did you know I work here?" Kim-hoon says, "Speak politely. We are your customers." Kyung-woo gets angry and says, "If you don't want to order, stop making pointless jokes and get out of here." Ja-rim says, "Go do your work. We'll decide and tell you." Then Ja-rim says to everyone, "You called me here for this, but it's not good to bother someone at their workplace. Enjoy yourselves here. I'm going because I have to go shopping." And as Ja-rim leaves, Ji-hoon follows her. Seeing this, Kim-hoon thinks, "They're definitely going to get a cake for me," and he is secretly very happy. Then Ji-hoon says to Ja-rim, "I'll come with you. I'll just help you carry your things." Then they go shopping. Next, we see a girl asking Kyung-woo for his number, and he gives it to her. Yang-min doesn't like this at all. Then we see Kim-hoon returning from the washroom and seeing Kyung-woo decorating a cake. Kyung thinks, "Kyung-woo must be making this cake for me." When Kyung-woo leaves, Kim-hoon takes the cake to the room and says, "I thought you guys would forget it's my birthday, but thank you for doing all this for me." Kim-hoon's friends remember it's his birthday. Yang-min says, covering up, "Yeah man, how could we forget your birthday? Look, that's why we're all here together." Ram says, "Right, and we got this cake made for you." All three are lying, but Kim-hoon thinks they are telling the truth. The three wish Kim-hoon a happy birthday, and he becomes very happy. Meanwhile, after shopping, Ja-rim asks Ji-hoon, "Will you go on a date with me?" Ji-hoon is very happy to hear this. Meanwhile, everyone celebrates Kim-hoon's birthday. When Kyung-woo arrives, he is shocked to see the cake. Kim-hoon says, "Thank you for making this cake for my birthday." Kyung-woo gets angry and says, "Are you all crazy? Why did you eat this cake?" Kim-hoon says, "Why are you angry? Didn't you prepare this cake for me?" Kyung-woo says, "A customer left this cake here because he went to get someone." Kim-hoon is very sad and says, "So you guys didn't remember my birthday?" Kyung-woo says, "Sorry, we didn't remember your birthday, but what will we tell the person whose cake this is when they come?" Ram says, "How long will it take them to arrive?" Kyung-woo says, 1 hour. Ram says, "Let's make some arrangements." Meanwhile, we see Ja-rim and Ji-hoon on a date. They both receive a message from Kyung-woo asking them to bring the cake back. Poor Ji-hoon's first date is ruined. They take the cake back, but it's very simple. Ji-hoon decorates it beautifully like the previous cake. Ja-rim sees this and is very impressed with Ji-hoon. Later, when Kyung-woo goes to give the cake to the customer, he learns that the customer is none other than the school principal, who came with a lady. Both are surprised to see each other. Kyung-woo leaves the cake and goes away. After some time, the principal meets Kyung-woo and says, "Don't tell anyone what you saw today." Kyung-woo says, "Okay, I won't tell anyone." Then, everyone celebrates Kim-hoon's birthday together. A scene from a few days later shows everyone at the airport. Kyung-woo arrives with a friend named Young-sung. Ram also arrives with an old friend. They are going to Kim-hoon's village, where his grandparents live, to see the valley because the view there is very beautiful. After some time, they arrive and meet the grandparents. When they go to see the valley, the grandparents say, "You can't go there because there was a lot of rain yesterday, which has caused a lot of water to accumulate there, so that area has been restricted." Hearing this, all the girls start thinking about what they will do. But the boys are different. They are having a lot of fun. Then everyone has dinner together. Ji-hoon tries to feed Ja-rim, but she refuses. Yang-min is very bothered by mosquitoes, so Kyung-woo gives her medicine, surprising her. Then we see Young-sung looking intently at Yang-min. Next morning, everyone is picking chilies because the grandparents are chili farmers. Yang-min is lifting a sack of chilies, but she can't lift it because it's very heavy. Kyung-woo sees this and lifts the sack. Yang-min says, "What are you doing?" Kyung says, "Can't you see? I'm helping you." Kyung-woo asks her, "Don't you want a boyfriend?" Yang-min says, "Why are you asking all this suddenly?" Kyung-woo says, "I was just saying that you should also have someone who can lift your sacks." Yang-min says, "Don't worry. I have a friend who's like a boyfriend to me. He'll lift all my sacks." Ah-ram arrives and easily lifts the 2 sacks and starts to leave, making Kyung-woo understand that Yang-min is talking about Ah-ram. Then we see that everyone has been working for a long time, so they run out of water. Ji-hoon goes to get water for Ja-rim. When Ji-hoon opens the refrigerator at home, there is no water, but there are some juice-like bottles. Ji-hoon tastes them one by one and realizes that it's not juice but alcohol, so he drinks a lot of it and gets very drunk. Meanwhile, everyone wonders why Ji-hoon hasn't brought the water yet. Then they see Ji-hoon staggering towards them. Kyung-woo comes to him, smells the bottle in his hand and says, "Oh, idiot, this is alcohol. Young-sung, let's take him back home." Ji-hoon says, "I don't want to go, I have to give my Ja-rim water." Ja-rim comes to him and Ji-hoon says, "Oh, my Ja-rim, you're here. Look, I brought water for you." Kyung tells Ja-rim he drank alcohol, that's why he's very drunk. Then Ji-hoon says to Ja-rim, "We're dating, but I can't touch you. I can't hold your hand. And why do you always tell me not to do this or that?" Ah-ram arrives and kicks him unconscious. Ja-rim is sad and thoughtful after hearing Ji-hoon's words. Next, in the morning, Ja-rim is in her room and feels someone is standing outside. She sees Ji-hoon, who is very embarrassed about what happened last night. Ja-rim asks him to sit next to her, holds his hand and says, "Are you okay?" making Ji-hoon very happy. Ja-rim says, "Why is your cheek red?" But Ji-hoon says nothing, takes out his phone, holds Ja-rim's hand, and starts taking photos. Next, we see Yang-min talking to her mother. She overhears some people talking, and one boy says, "Do you really like Yang-min?" Yang-min doesn't understand who likes her and can't sleep all night. Then she remembers that Kyung-woo gave her medicine, helped her in the field, and asked, "Don't you want a boyfriend?" Thinking about this, Yang-min concludes that Kyung-woo likes her. She is very happy because she likes Kyung-woo too. Then we see them returning from the trip. Here, Yang-min learns that it's not Kyung-woo but Jung-sung who likes her. Jung-sung fell in love with Yang-min at first sight. Jung-sung asked Kyung-woo to give Yang-min the medicine. Kyung-woo helped Yang-min constantly because Jung-sung asked him to. Learning this, Yang-min becomes sad. Because Yang-min doesn't like Jung-sung, she rejects him. Jung-sung leaves sadly. Next, we see Ja-rim and Ji-hoon at a restaurant. Ji-hoon goes to pay the bill, but Ja-rim stops him and pays herself, making Ji-hoon very happy. Then they go home. Ja-rim is about to leave saying, "Good night," when Ji-hoon says, "Won't you hug me before you go?" Ji-hoon comes to Ja-rim and hugs her, shocking her. Ji-hoon says, "I want a kiss on my next birthday." Ja-rim asks, "Was it your birthday today?" Ji-hoon says, "Yes." Ja-rim says, "Why didn't you tell me? I couldn't give you a gift." Ji-hoon says, "You treated me to dinner and let me hug you. That's my gift from you." Ja-rim says, "I didn't hug you, you hugged me." Ja-rim hugs Ji-hoon herself, making him very emotional and happy. Next, we see Ji-hoon and Kyung-woo playing basketball with some other boys. They aren't close friends, but know each other somewhat. They've been playing for a long time and decide to rest for a while. There's a boy named Jack whose girlfriend is there, but is sitting alone and bored. Jack says to the boys, "Does anyone have a girlfriend? Bring her here because my girlfriend is bored." He says to Ji-hoon, "I heard you have a girlfriend. Can you call her here?" Kyung-woo says he's not that close to his girlfriend that she'll come just because he calls her. He can barely hold her hand. Jack says, "Should I give you some tips?" Ji-hoon refuses because he knows Jack is a playboy. Jack goes to his girlfriend. Ji-hoon thinks, "I wish Ja-rim were here." So Ji-hoon calls Ja-rim and says, "I'm playing basketball with some guys. Can you come here?" Ja-rim refuses and hangs up. Then Ja-rim sends Ji-hoon a photo of her learning boxing with Ah-ram, writing, "That's why I can't come." But Ja-rim's friends request, "He's calling you so sweetly, you should go." Finally, Ja-rim decides to go, but when she arrives, the game is over, and Ji-hoon is in the washroom. We learn that Jack knows Ja-rim. Seeing Jack, Ja-rim is very surprised and nervous and leaves. Ji-hoon arrives and asks Jack, "Did Ja-rim come here?" Jack asks, is Ja Rim your girlfriend? Ji-hoon asks, what do you mean? Do you know Ja Rim? Jack says, I not only know her, but I also dated her. She was very demanding. I had a lot of trouble handling her. Ji-hoon angrily says, stop talking nonsense. He runs to find Ja Rim. Ja Rim is walking but lost in thought and falls. Ji-hoon reaches her and asks, are you okay? Do you know Jack? Did you date him? Ja Rim says, we'll talk later. Ji-hoon says, tell me or I'll keep thinking all sorts of things. But Ja Rim leaves, making Ji-hoon very sad. He comes back to get his things. Jack asks him, did Ja Rim leave? She looked better with long hair. Ji-hoon says nothing and leaves. Ja Rim arrives home and wants to message Ji-hoon to explain, but she can't. Then we are shown a scene from 2 years ago. Ja Rim is going to school with Yang Min when Jack is waiting for her on the way. He asks Ja Rim for her number, but Ja Rim refuses and starts to leave. So Jack starts talking very sweetly to impress her. He gives Ja Rim a lollipop and intentionally falls down while leaving, which makes Ja Rim laugh a lot. Ja Rim is impressed by Jack, though not very much. Then, in the present, Ja Rim's friend has come to meet Ja Rim and is explaining to her, you should tell Ji-hoon everything, the whole truth. So Ja Rim says, that's what I can't do. So Yang Min says, if Jack tells Ji-hoon something wrong, then there will be even more problems in the future. Therefore, you should tell him everything. So Ja Rim says, I don't know how to tell him that I was never in that relationship. After meeting Ja Rim, her friends start going home. Ja Rim comes out to see them off, but then Jack arrives and says, Ja Rim, how are you? It's been a long time since we met. But Ja Rim doesn't talk to him and starts to leave. So Jack grabs her hand to stop her and says, you shouldn't ignore your ex-boyfriend like this. So Ja Rim says, you are not my ex-boyfriend. Don't talk nonsense, and I don't want to talk to a cheap person like you. Ji-hoon has come out for a walk, so he sees Ja Rim and Jack together and becomes very sad. Then we are shown a past scene. Ja Rim had started to like Jack a little, so she was thinking of dating him. But she finds out about Jack that he is a playboy and is dating many girls. Jack says, Ja Rim, you must have a misunderstanding. That girl is not my girlfriend. Please forgive me, okay? I will end everything with that girl, but don't break up with me. Ja Rim ignores his words and starts to leave, which makes Jack very angry. He insults Ja Rim very badly and says, you are very pretty, so I wanted to date you. But now I don't want to date a spoiled girl like you. Saying this, he leaves. Then, in the present, Ja Rim sees Ji-hoon and tries to talk to him, but Ji-hoon leaves. Then, in the next scene, Ji-hoon receives a call from Yang Min, and Yang Min tells him the whole truth about Jack. Next morning, Ji-hoon comes to play basketball, but actually, he comes to fight with Jack. He beats Jack and gets beaten himself. Ji-hoon's friends catch him and stop the fight by talking to Jack. But Jack leaves very angry. In the next scene, we see Ja Rim playing a game at home. Then she receives a message from Ji-hoon, along with a photo which says, I'm outside your house, and if you don't come down quickly, I will never talk to you again. So Ja Rim quickly runs downstairs. Ji-hoon meets her and says, I missed you a lot. On the other hand, we see Kyung-woo going to meet Jack. He apologizes to Jack for what Ji-hoon did. He also threatens him very affectionately. If anything happens to Ji-hoon, I will not leave you because I love Ji-hoon very much. Meanwhile, Ja Rim asks Ji-hoon, aren't you angry with me? So Ji-hoon says, no, I'm not angry. I was just wondering why you didn't tell me everything that day. I had many questions in my mind, but now that I'm with you, I'll just say that I missed you a lot. Hearing this, Ja Rim happily starts to leave when Ji-hoon hugs her from behind. So Ja Rim says, why do you like me so much? You know, I used to hurt you intentionally, so will you still like me? So Ji-hoon says, yes, I will like you. Hearing this, Ja Rim becomes very emotional and starts crying. So Ji-hoon says, promise me that we won't say things to each other that will hurt both of us. So Ja Rim says, okay, then both of them start talking. Ja Rim says, I used to say harsh things to you because you somewhat resemble Jack. Therefore, I thought we would break up, but you are not at all like Jack. I'm sorry for that. So Ji-hoon says, it's okay. Then Ji-hoon shows her a bracelet and says, today is our 100th day love anniversary, and he puts the bracelet on her. So Ja Rim says, but I don't have anything to give you. So Ji-hoon says, it's okay. Today you just hold my hand all day. Then both of them hold hands and start walking, and everything is all right between them, making them both very happy. Then in the next scene, we see Ji-hoon and Ja Rim going to school together, holding hands. Outside the class, Ji-hoon says to Ja Rim, why aren't you in my class? I don't know how I will wait until lunch break. So Ja Rim says, stop the nonsense. Anyway, we decided that we will go to see a movie this weekend. So Ji-hoon says, yes, okay. I will book the tickets. After break time, when Ji-hoon goes to book the tickets, he finds out that he doesn't have enough money to book them. This worries him. He wonders where his money went. He checks his transaction history and finds out that he has already spent all the money. The poor guy becomes very worried about how he will now book the tickets. Then his friends arrive, so he tells his friend, I have spent all my money this month. Can you guys give me some money? I will go to see a movie with Ja-rim. But his friends refuse him. We don't have any money, and they leave. Then, after school ends, when they are going home, Ja-rim asks Ji-hoon, did you book the tickets? So Ji-hoon says, I haven't booked them. Then Yang-min says, let's go eat something. So Ji-hoon calculates in his mind how much money it will cost to eat for 4 people. But he doesn't have that much money, so he refuses and says, I have to book tickets, I'll go home. And he leaves. Seeing this, Yang-min says he could have booked the tickets from his phone too. Ja-rim also wonders why he said that and left. Ji-hoon goes home and starts looking for some money he had hidden, but he doesn't find anything. Then he finds out that his friend has spent his hidden money. The poor guy becomes even more worried about what he will do now. Then, Ji-hoon feels very hot, so he turns on the AC, but he finds out that his AC is also broken. Worried about the heat, he messages his dad at night, Dad, the AC is broken. So his dad says, tomorrow you call the technician. He will come and fix it. There is an offer going on, so he will fix it for free. The next day, Ji-hoon is at school and he is very tired. He is feeling sleepy because he couldn't sleep all night. Then Kim-hoon comes to him and asks, how did you get into this state? So Ji-hoon tells him, my house AC is broken and I ran out of food yesterday night, so I'm hungry. Will you lend me some money? But Kim-hoon refuses and leaves. Now Ji-hoon is hungry, so he steals Kyung-woo's food and eats it. When he is passing by Ja-rim's class, he sees that Ah-ram is eating a burger, so Ji-hoon tries to snatch her burger. Ah-ram says, what are you doing? Have you gone crazy? So Ji-hoon apologizes to Ah-ram. Then Ja-rim and Yang-min arrive. Ja-rim says to Ji-hoon, let's go to the store. But Ji-hoon refuses to go and says, I ate too much in the morning, which is why my stomach is very upset, and he leaves. So Yang-min says, why is Ji-hoon doing this? First, he used to make excuses to meet Ja-rim, but now why is he avoiding her? Then, in the next scene, we see Kyung-woo and a friend sitting and playing a game. Then, Yang-min and Ah-ram arrive. Yang-min asks, what are you guys doing? Kyung-woo's friend says, we're playing a game. Then he also tells them which game they are playing. Yang-min, who wants to approach Kyung-woo, says, I like this game too. I want to play this game. Then Kyung-woo's friend asks her a question about the game, which she cannot answer. Both of them understand that she doesn't know how to play the game. But then Kyung-woo says, if you like this game, will you come to play it with me this weekend? Hearing this, Yang-min becomes very happy and immediately says, yes. She wants to spend time with Kyung-woo because she likes him. Then we see Ji-hoon sitting in class. Then Yang-min comes there and says, do you know how to play the game that Kyung-woo plays? Ji-hoon says, yes, I know how to play, and I am a pretty good player. So Yang-min says, please help me and teach me how to play the game. So Ji-hoon says, I will charge 1,001 for 10 minutes of teaching. So Yang-min says, no, I will only give 501. So Ji-hoon says, okay. Then, in the next scene, Ji-hoon doesn't have any ingredients to cook, so he has dinner at Kyung-woo's house. Then Kyung-woo gives Ji-hoon an idea, sell your best clothes online, then you will get money. Ji-hoon is happy to hear this. Then, going home, he sells his best clothes online, which gives him 40,000 won. But after a while, the technician arrives to fix his AC, but the free offer has ended. This makes him have to pay the technician 20,000 won, and he becomes very sad again. Then, in the next scene, we see Ja-rim asking Ji-hoon, did you book the tickets? And what time will the movie start? So Ji-hoon says, it will start in an hour. So Ja-rim says, let's eat something before that. On the other hand, Yang-min comes to play the game with Kyung-woo and starts playing the game with him. Meanwhile, Ji-hoon and Ja-rim arrive at the restaurant. Ja-rim places her order, but Ji-hoon takes a long time because he is calculating how much money he has left and how much the food will cost. Therefore, he is not ordering. So Ja-rim orders for him too. Meanwhile, Kyung-woo plays the game with Yang-min for a while, but then Jung-sung arrives, so Kyung-woo leaves them both alone. Jung-sung says to Yang-min, I'm sorry I didn't know you were here. Kyung-woo called me to play the game. If you don't feel good, I'll leave. So Yang-min says, no, it's not like that, and she lies to him so that Jung-sung doesn't feel bad. On the other hand, Ji-hoon and Ja-rim finish eating. Then Ji-hoon says to Ja-rim, I'm going to the washroom. But actually, he goes to the waitress and giving her his ID card says, I don't have any money right now, so please keep my ID card for now. I will come and give you the money tomorrow. Then Ji-hoon finds out that the bill has already been paid, which Ja-rim had done. Then both of them start to go see the movie. So Ji-hoon says, thank you you for the meal. So Ja Rim says, you booked the movie tickets, so I could treat you to a meal, right? And all your money is gone, right? Why didn't you tell me? And we both like each other, so don't you think we shouldn't hide anything from each other? So Ji-hoon says, I promise, I won't hide anything from you after today. Then, a few days later, we see a scene where all the students in the class are discussing because a festival is coming up, which all the students in the school do together. So Kyung-woo makes a plan. Whoever buys coffee from Ahram will get a chance to take a photo with Kyung, the most handsome boy in school, and Jae-rim, the most beautiful girl. Meanwhile, Ji-hoon's classmates have made a plan that people can come to their class and pay money to meditate. After a while, boys from other classes come with Ja-rim to take photos, which Ji-hoon doesn't like at all. Meanwhile, many girls also come to take photos with Kyung-woo, which Yang-min doesn't like at all. On the other hand, nobody comes to Ji-hoon's class because nobody likes to meditate. So Ji-hoon makes a plan. People can come to my class and pay money to beat me up and release their frustration. Hearing this, a crowd gathers in his class, and one after another, people come and start beating Ji-hoon. Then Ja-rim also arrives, and she doesn't like it at all that people are beating Ji-hoon. Then Ja-rim sees two fat girls standing behind her, and she gets scared. If they beat Ji-hoon, he will die. Therefore, Ja-rim pays for an hour and tells Ji-hoon to come out of the class. Ji-hoon understands that Ja-rim can't see him being beaten, which makes him very happy. Then we see a girl named Yoo-sol, who takes a photo with Kyung-woo and is staring at him intently. Seeing this, Yang-min becomes very jealous. After taking the photo, Yoo-sol comes to Yang-min and asks, do you know about Kyung-woo? And does he have a girlfriend? So Yang-min says, I talked to him a little, but he doesn't have a girlfriend. So Yoo-sol says, if that's the case, will you talk to Kyung-woo about me? And saying this, she leaves. A little while later, Yang-min comes to Kyung-woo and showing Yoo-sol's photo says, this girl wants to talk to you. So Kyung-woo says, I don't want to talk to any girl. So Yang-min says, what's the problem? She is so beautiful. So Kyung-woo says, tell her that I have a girlfriend. And he leaves. Yang-min thinks he doesn't have a girlfriend, so why is he saying this? Then, after the festival, Kyung and Yang-min are going somewhere when a boy sees them together and thinks, is this girl Kyung's girlfriend? Inside, everyone is enjoying themselves, dancing, but their chips run out. So Kyung-woo and Ram go to get more. Then Yang-min's mother calls. She goes outside to talk, and when she is coming back, the same boy stops her and asks, are you Kyung's girlfriend? And what's your name? So Yang-min says, who are you? So the boy says, you are Kyung-woo's girlfriend, and he didn't tell you about me. Then Kyung arrives and says, she is not my girlfriend. Ram asks, who is this boy? So Kyung-woo says, you don't need to know about him, and you guys go inside. Then both of them go inside. So the boy says, I also saw Ji-hoon going inside, so I'm going inside. So Kyung-woo grabs him and says, mind your own business and get out of here. So the boy says, your hair is quite long, and that scar you have, it wasn't from fighting with boys, right? I know your father beat you up a lot. That's why you have this scar. And if you had told me this before, this misunderstanding wouldn't have happened between us. So Kyung-woo grabs the boy's collar and says, get out. Then the boy goes out with him. Then, we are shown a scene from 2 days later, and we find out that Kyung-woo hasn't come to school for 2 days. He is not replying to anyone's messages, which worries his friends about what happened to Kyung-woo. Then, all the friends go to Kyung-woo's house. Then his mother meets them. So everyone asks, where is Kyung-woo? So his mother says, he went to school after getting ready. So Ja-rim says, he hasn't come to school for 2 days. So Kyung-woo's mother says, I will talk to him. After this, we see Kyung-woo, who has gone to play a game. Then he receives a call from his mother and talks to her. Then, the next day, Kyung-woo goes to school. So Ji-hoon asks Kyung-woo, what happened? Why weren't you coming to school? So Kyung-woo grabs Ji-hoon's collar and says, oh, you don't know why I wasn't coming to school. Then Ja-rim arrives and says, I told your mother. But Kyung-woo doesn't say anything and angrily leaves. Ji-hoon is very sad seeing Kyung-woo's attitude. Then everyone starts discussing what happened to Kyung-woo. Then Ram says, didn't he have a fight with that boy that day? Because he had an injury on his hand. And maybe his name was Peter. Hearing the name Peter, a boy says, how do you guys know Peter? So Yang-min says, do you know Peter? So the boy says, yes, Peter was Kyung-woo's friend before, and he also had a girlfriend. So Yang-min says, what? And what was the girlfriend's name? So the boy says, I don't know, maybe Ji-hoon knows. So Ji-hoon says, yes, he had a girlfriend, and her name was Yuri. Then we are shown a past scene. Kyung-woo went out with his girlfriend and friends. There, Peter asks Kyung-woo's girlfriend Yuri for her number, but Yuri refuses. Then, a little while later, when Yuri is going home, Peter says, I'll drop you home. So Yuri says, you don't need to do that. Then, Yuri comes to Kyung-woo and says, drop me home. Kyung-woo agrees, and Peter doesn't like this. A few days later, Kyung-woo and Yuri start dating, and they are both very happy together. But seeing them together makes Peter very jealous, because he also liked Yuri. Peter didn't want to see Yuri with Kyung-woo, so he spreads false things about Yuri throughout the school that she is dating many boys at the same time. Kyung-woo was young at that time, so he believes it, and because of this, Kyung-woo and Yuri have a fight, which leads to their breakup. Also, Peter spread false things about Kyung-woo that Kyung-woo is a maniac who beats Yuri a lot. When Kyung-woo finds out about all this, he is about to fight with Peter, but Ji-hoon stops him. Ji-hoon says, "If you fight at school, you will be expelled." Kyung-woo angrily leaves. Then, in the present, a boy says, a few days later, Kyung-woo was found admitted to the hospital. He was badly injured, and from that day on, he got this scar on his face. Ji-hoon says, "He got injured because of me." Then the class ends, and everyone starts going home. On the way, Ji-hoon meets Peter. So Ji-hoon says, "I don't want to talk to you." So Peter says, "You're acting like a hero in front of the girl? By the way, your girlfriend is very pretty." So Ji-hoon says, "Stop talking nonsense." So Peter says, "By the way, Kyung-woo is your best friend, right? So you must know how he got that scar on his face. I found out that his father beat him up a lot, which is why he has that scar on his head." So Ji-hoon says, "This is a lie. I accidentally pushed him down the stairs, which is why he got hurt." So Peter says, "Why are you lying? His father smashed his head with an alcohol bottle." Hearing this, Ji-hoon gets very angry, grabs his collar, and also abuses him. Peter also gets angry and slaps Ji-hoon. Seeing this, Ja-rim angrily slaps Peter. When Peter is about to hit Ja-rim, Kim-hoon arrives and says, "Run away from here, or I'll call the police right now." Peter runs away in fear. Then, Ja-rim applies medicine to Ji-hoon's injury and asks him, "Is what Peter said true?" Ji-hoon doesn't say anything. So Ja-rim says, "Don't say anything. I understand." Then she goes to Kyung-woo's house and calls him saying, "Come outside, Ji-hoon got hurt because of you." When Kyung-woo comes out, Ja-rim moves his hair to see his injury and says, "It doesn't look that bad, and I know this injury is because of your dad." So Kyung-woo says, "Who told you?" Ji-hoon, right? That brat is not going to change. So Ja-rim says, "You guys have been friends for 10 years, so you should know what Ji-hoon is like, right? He didn't tell me. I met Peter on the way. He told me. And this scar of yours doesn't look that bad, so style your hair properly. Anyway, I've said what I had to say. Now I'm leaving." Saying this, Ja-rim leaves. Then Kyung-woo remembers a past scene when he was in the hospital, and Ji-hoon took great care of him. Ji-hoon even skipped school for many days while taking care of him. Then Kyung-woo comes to Ji-hoon's house and apologizes to him. Ji-hoon also forgives him. Next morning, Kyung-woo and his friend are waiting for Ji-hoon outside his house. Then Ja-rim arrives. Kyung-woo keeps looking at her because when Ja-rim pushed his hair up the night before, Kyung-woo's heartbeat became very fast. Now Kyung-woo has changed his hairstyle, which Ja-rim compliments. Seeing Ja-rim in front of him makes Kyung-woo feel a little awkward, so he says, "I have some work. I'm going to school. You guys come later." When Kyung-woo leaves, Ja-rim and a classmate go to Ji-hoon's house. They see Ji-hoon standing without a towel, which shocks both of them. Seeing Ja-rim, Ji-hoon quickly runs to the bathroom. So Ja-rim tells the boy, "I'm leaving. You both come later." After Ja-rim leaves, Ji-hoon asks the boy, "Did she see everything?" So the boy says, "I don't know, but I covered you." Then in class, the boy is laughing very loudly at Ja-rim. So Ja-rim says, "Will you stop laughing?" So the boy says, "Ji-hoon was asking me how much you saw." So Ja-rim says, "Get out of here." Then, in the next scene, Kyung-woo is looking only at Ja-rim in class. Then he comes to Young-min and says, "You told me about that girl, right? Can you give me her number?" So Young-min gives him the number, but she feels very bad inside. Then Kyung-woo calls Yoo-sol, which makes Yoo-sol very happy. When school is over, Ji-hoon tries to leave secretly. So Ja-rim catches Ji-hoon and says, "If you don't talk to me today, I will never talk to you again." Then Ja-rim says, "I didn't see anything. I was just looking into your eyes and that boy covered you." But Ja-rim was lying. She had seen everything. But Ji-hoon believes Ja-rim's words, and everything is alright between them. They both start talking nicely. Then, in the next scene, we see Kyung-woo and Yoo-sol coming to school together. Seeing them, all the classmates understand that they are dating. But Young-min feels bad. So at night, Young-min checks her phone, in which Young-sung has sent her many messages. So Young-min tells him, "Are you free this weekend? Shall we go to see a movie?" Seeing this, Young-sung becomes very happy. Then he goes to Ji-hoon's house and says, "Do you have any good clothes? Because I'm going to see a movie this weekend." So Ji-hoon gives him a nice dress. Then Jung-sung goes to a restaurant to meet Young-min, and they both eat together. When they come out, they meet Kyung-woo. So Kyung-woo asks, Are you two dating? Well, that's good. Have fun. And Kyung-woo leaves. Then, in the next scene, at night, Ji-hoon's friends are at his house, and they find out that Kyung-woo and Yoo-sol have kissed. Hearing this, Ji-hoon feels bad because he has been dating Ja-rim for 6 months, but they haven't kissed yet. Then, a scene from a few days later is shown. Ji-hoon is going to meet Ja-rim, and he decides that today he will enjoy himself with Ja-rim and also kiss her. Then, they go out, and after going out, Ji-hoon says to Ja-rim, "We've been dating for a long time, so I want to kiss today." So Ja-rim says, "If that's the case, I'll give you 3 seconds." Hearing this, Ji-hoon quickly kisses Ja-rim. On the other hand, we see Kyung-woo and Yoo-sol. Kyung-woo is just glued to his phone, which makes Yoo-sol feel very bad. She says, "Are we really dating? You didn't even see how lonely I'm feeling." So Kyung-woo hugs her. So Yoo-sol says, "Do you really like me?" Kyung-woo doesn't say anything. Seeing this, Yoo-sol starts to leave sadly and says, "You don't like me, right?" And she leaves. Then, in the next scene, we see Yang-min and Jung-sung going out at night. Then we see Kyung-woo. Kyung-woo started dating because he had started liking Jae-rim, but Jae-rim likes Ji-hoon, so he started dating Yoo-sol to distract himself. Therefore, he apologizes to Yoo-sol and says, "Let's break up." On the other hand, seeing Kyung-woo and Yoo-sol together, Yang-min says to Jung-sung, "Let's date." Hearing this, Jung-sung is happy because he started liking Yang-min from the very first time. Then, in the next scene, all the classmates find out that Yang-min and Jung-sung are dating. Everyone also finds out that Kyung-woo and Yoo-sol have broken up. So Kyung-woo says to Yang-min, "Jung-sung is a very good boy, so don't break his heart." Then, at night, Yang-min is thinking, "Did I make a mistake by asking Jung-sung to date because Kyung-woo's breakup?" Then we see that Ji-hoon and Ja-rim's relationship is going well. Then one day, Ji-hoon's ex-girlfriend messages him. So Ji-hoon thinks, "Why is she messaging me now?" Then Ji-hoon tells Kyung-woo about this. So Kyung-woo says, "Just ignore her because you have a girlfriend now." So Ji-hoon says, "Yes, I'm doing that, but I don't understand how she got my number." Then, in the next scene, Ji-hoon's ex is sending him many messages. So Ji-hoon says, "I have a girlfriend, so don't message me." So his ex-girlfriend says, "Why are you saying that? I still like you. I just want to be your friend, and our breakup was just because of some reason." So Ji-hoon is very confused. What would have been that reason? Therefore, he messages his ex-girlfriend and asks for the reason for the breakup. But his ex-girlfriend avoids the question and says, "It's night, go to sleep." Because of this, Ji-hoon talks to her for a long time. Then, the next day, when Ji-hoon and Ja-rim are going home from school, his ex-girlfriend arrives. She holds Ji-hoon's hand and starts talking to him. Seeing this, Ja-rim doesn't understand who this girl is. Then Kyung-woo arrives and takes Ji-hoon's ex-girlfriend away. He gets very angry at her and threatens her, "Leave Ji-hoon alone, or it won't be good for you." On the other hand, when Ja-rim finds out that the girl is Ji-hoon's ex-girlfriend and that Ji-hoon is talking to her through messages, Ja-rim gets very angry. She leaves with her friends. Ja-rim doesn't talk to Ji-hoon for many days and ignores him. But when Ja-rim finds out from Kyung-woo that Ji-hoon's ex-girlfriend was not a good girl, she was only with Ji-hoon for his money. When she found a richer boy, she broke up with Ji-hoon. Knowing all this, Ja-rim gets very angry at Ji-hoon's ex-girlfriend. The next day, Ja-rim meets Ji-hoon's ex-girlfriend and scolds her a lot. She also beats her up a lot and says, "Stay away from Ji-hoon." Seeing Ja-rim's behavior, Ji-hoon is very shocked. He thinks, "Ja-rim likes me a lot, that's why she did this." After today, Ji-hoon's ex-girlfriend doesn't contact him. On the other hand, Yang-min likes Kyung-woo, but she knows that Kyung-woo will never like her. Therefore, she decides that she will continue dating Jung-sung. Maybe he will start liking her later? Meanwhile, Ji-hoon and Ja-rim are both dating, but Ji-hoon hasn't properly proposed to Ja-rim. Therefore, he decides that he will propose to Ja-rim properly. He expresses his feelings very nicely to Ja-rim. Ja-rim also tells Ji-hoon for the first time, "I like you very much too." Hearing this, Ji-hoon becomes very happy. Now both of them are very happy dating each other. So this is the happy ending of this drama. So friends, how did you like this drama? Please tell us in the comments and please subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.